bit. All right. Cool. Hey guys, what's up? It's Dean. Welcome to MFY Yoga. If you're joining me on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, welcome to you all, and thanks for joining me today. So typically Wednesdays, we do a Wednesday workout, but today I thought it would be interesting for you guys, and I think important for you guys, to listen to my 5 major reasons why traditional yoga, or why traditional yoga doesn't work, basically for me. And the point of this broadcast, so the 5 major problems of traditional yoga, and the point of me making this video, before I get started, because I know that a lot of people are going to look at this and say like, well, you're missing the point of yoga, or you're doing yoga wrong. And I get those comments all the time. It's not going to change what I'm doing. I think I'm providing a service that a lot of men and a lot of women need. But the point of me making this is to point out why traditional yoga didn't work for my approach to fitness and my fitness goals. And I also want to talk about what I did with MFY yoga to address these 5 traditional problems of yoga. And this has been, these problems that I am pointing out here, this is based on my experience in yoga, my experiences in yoga studios. I was in and out of yoga studios for 4 or 5 years, from 2000, and I've largely stopped going to yoga studios in the past couple of years. I use a private instructor if I want to get a yoga workout, or I'll go to a class maybe once every other month or something like that. But when I was going to yoga studios, these are the 5 major problems that I encountered as it pertained to my personal goals with fitness and my personal reasons for doing yoga. Now, this isn't to say that that traditional yoga doesn't work for you or work for other people, because I know that traditional yoga, the way that's practiced in yoga studios, a ton of people like it. There are millions of people doing yoga. There are millions of men doing yoga, and they like what they get in a yoga studio. But for me, the approach didn't work it didn't jive with what I wanted from my yoga classes, and it was inefficient in terms of solving my physical fitness goals. And so that's why I'm making this video today, to talk about that. So don't get me wrong, I do love yoga. I have a weird love-hate relationship with yoga, because I really love the postures and I love the workout that you can potentially get from yoga. I love that it's slow moving, that you focus on the breath, that you get to do a lot of things that you don't do in your other traditional workouts. What I don't like about traditional yoga is that it is most classes aren't focused on the fitness aspects of it. So you miss out on a lot of things, like knowing what you should be feeling in the pose, how to modify the pose if it doesn't work for you, what muscles are you working, what is the technique you should be doing, what are the little differences that you need to make in order to improve your technique. And a lot of that comes down to the type of yoga that you're doing. So if you're doing a Bikram yoga class or a hot yoga class, or if you're doing, or it depends on the instructor. What does the instructor tend to focus on? But the trend that I see overall is that yoga is not fitness focused, and it's more spiritual focused. So here are the 5 major problems that I've seen in my experience of going to yoga studios for years. Number 1, classes are one size fit all. Obviously, yoga classes have to satisfy all of the people coming to the yoga class. So for the most part, yoga classes are one size fit all. Now, this would be great if none of us had any issues. So if we had no physical fitness issues, if we had let's say no back problems, no neck pain, no history of injury, no knee injuries, no ankle injuries. That would be great if we were all in really healthy shape. But the fact is that most of us have issues. We have issues with our back. We have chronic back pain. We have recurring injuries in our knees and ankles. So the problem is that a lot of people go to yoga classes specifically to address their back pain and their neck pain. But what actually happens is you can make these problems worse. So if you have back problems as a result of sitting and you go to a yoga class that focuses on forward folds, you're actually exacerbating that problem. You're making it worse by doing, right? If we're spending our time during the day sitting with bad posture, and then we go to a yoga class and we do more forward folds, we're actually making that problem worse. We're not addressing it. We're doing the exact opposite of what we need to do. If we go to a yoga class and we have knee problems and we're not focusing on proper hip and proper core engagement, then you're actually making your knee problems worse because you're just reinforcing existing poor movement patterns. So the problem is that yoga is one size fit all, when really what you need is a more tailored approach to your specific problems. So that's the biggest, that's problem number one. Number two is there isn't enough focus on technique. Now the reason for this is because yoga, as it's traditionally practiced, is not focused on fitness. People go to yoga because, I think for the most part, because they want an experience. They want an experience. They also might want to work on their fitness, but for the most part, yoga, I think, is an experience and less focus on the fitness aspect. So as a result, there's not a lot of focus on technique because people don't want to go to a yoga class and just have technique drilled into them while they're trying to, let's say, enjoy themselves or relax. And so yoga studios cater to that. So they only give, and actually when I did my teacher training, and this is how most yoga instructors are taught to my knowledge, we were told to only give one cue per pose, which means that if I were to say, okay guys, we're gonna get into a high lunge, so take a big step back and lift your arms overhead in a lunge. And that would be all that I would say. Now typically when I say, okay, we're gonna do a high lunge, then I go into all the different points. I talk about your knee should be over your ankle, your back thigh should be lifted and engaged, your legs should be squeezing toward one another, you should have a neutral pelvic tilt, you should feel this stretch here, you should feel muscle engagement here, you should feel your glutes engaging here, you should feel stretching in your chest. So I'm giving you all of those technique points. Now in a typical yoga class, you're only getting one because again, most people don't want all of this focus on the technique. And so yoga instructors, yoga studios cater to that. And when you go to a typical yoga class, you're not going to get all those reinforcements on technique. The problem with that is obviously that if you're not doing the technique correctly, or if someone's not telling you how to do the technique correctly, then you're going to be doing the movements incorrectly, which can set you up for poor movement patterns. It can lead into injury. It can lead into recurring or chronic pain. It can carry over into bad habits in your other exercises and your other types of fitness. And so when you're not getting that focus on technique, that's really detrimental to your fitness. So you're going to yoga for fitness, maybe, and you're actually not doing much for your fitness. You're doing, let's say, a little bit, but overall we're being inefficient with it. So problem number two is there's not enough focus on technique. Number three is there aren't modifications for inflexible guys. Now I recognize that 75% of people who go to yoga classes are women. So for the most part, we're going to be catering to those women in those yoga classes, right? That makes total sense. Problem is that there are guys who go to yoga classes too, and they're typically not as flexible as women. So, you know, most guys who are, especially guys who are just starting out yoga, can't touch their hands to the ground, right? Most guys can't do a forward fold where you're bringing your hands all the way to the ground and touching. And so what happens is guys try to do what everyone else in the class is doing, and they can't do it. So they're forcing themselves into a position that they're not ready for. They're compensating by doing something incorrectly, and ultimately they're setting themselves up for poor movement patterns or injury. And so it's a problem when people aren't getting the modifications that they're supposed to be doing from yoga classes. Now I understand the issue, right? It'd be very tough to give all of the modifications for everybody in a yoga class with every posture because you've got a lot of different people to cater to, right? And you've got a lot of different people to cater to, and you can only say so much at a given time. Also, you can only give limited instruction. You know, it's very tough for you to go around and give specific instructions to each person in the class for every pose. That would be impossible. But the reality is that a lot of people need that in order to do the movements properly. And so people aren't getting that from typical yoga classes. So number three, the problem is there aren't modifications for inflexible guys. Number 4, the postures don't last long enough. Now, in my fitness experience as an athlete, keep in mind, I've been playing sports since I was 5 years old. I've been working out since I was probably 10, and I've been working out 6 times a week for, let's say, 20 years. So I've been working out my entire life. And I've done almost every different type of fitness you can imagine. I've done CrossFit, I've done weight training, I've done bodybuilding, I have done swimming, I've played tennis, I've played soccer, I've played football, I've played basketball, I've played baseball, I have done jump rope. I mean, I've done almost everything that you can think of. And in my experience, yoga is beneficial because it's slow moving, because you are focused on maintaining a posture and staying in that posture for a long time. There are other workouts that you can do to move more quickly, right? We can go do running, we can go do agility drills, we can get cones out in a field and run and touch one cone and then touch another cone. We can lift quickly, for example. We can do fast explosive movements with weights, doing like a jerk press or doing a very fast standing up in a squat, whatever it is. The reason I think that yoga is so beneficial is because it moves slowly and you can hold the postures. So when you do a yoga class that's moving really quickly and holding a posture for 5 seconds at a time, it's just not the best way to practice yoga. And that's how most yoga is practiced. Most yoga studios are vinyasa flows, right? They're flow classes, which means 1 breath per movement. So you're holding a pose for maybe 5 or 10 seconds at a time, and then you're quickly moving to the next posture. Now the problem with that is you're not holding the posture long enough to work deeper into your mobility, so you're not giving your body enough time to actually open up and work deeper into your flexibility. You're also not giving yourself enough time to actually check in and make sure you're doing the posture correctly. So one of the biggest problems that I think one of the biggest problems with traditional yoga is that the postures don't last long enough. And that's because there are other types of fitness that you can do to move quickly, to hold things for a short amount of time. I think yoga is most efficient I think the best way to do yoga though is slow and controlled and holding those postures, because you're not getting that from other types of workouts. And then number 5, and this is the last major problem of traditional yoga that I'll discuss here, is that yoga sessions focus on the experience and not on the results. And I've touched on this before today, or before in this presentation today, but the point of yoga sessions is, the main point of yoga is not fitness, right? And so I'm taking a completely atypical approach to yoga by saying, hey, this is yoga for fitness. And I know that tons of people are going to tell me, Dean, you're getting this all wrong. Yoga is not for fitness. But the way that I practice yoga is for fitness. For me, yoga is a workout. For me, yoga is about improving my fitness. It's addressing aspects of fitness that my other workouts aren't getting, like mobility, balance, breathing, flexibility, range of motion, endurance. There's things that I can't get from my other workouts, I'm getting from my yoga workouts. And the way that traditional yoga is practiced is not as fitness. It's part fitness, but for the most part, yoga is practiced as a holistic thing. It includes philosophy, it includes meditation, it includes spirituality. Doesn't include religion. Spirituality and religion are 2 different things, but for the most part, yoga does include spirituality. So when you're going to a yoga class, you're getting all these different things. It's a holistic practice, and it just happens to be also good for your fitness. On the other hand, what I've done with MFY yoga is that this is yoga that's designed for your fitness. This isn't just yoga that also happens to be good for your fitness. It's yoga that is specifically designed for fitness. So those are the 5 major problems that I think exist with traditional yoga. So now the question is, so should we do yoga at all? Like, if knowing all these issues, knowing all these things that are quote unquote, I don't want to say wrong. I can't say wrong. Knowing that traditional yoga is not as efficient as it can be when it comes to improving your fitness, should we even do yoga at all? The answer is yes, we should still be doing yoga. But if your goal is to do yoga for fitness, like I know many people's goals with yoga are fitness related, then it's important that you do yoga that is actually related to fitness. or it's important that you do yoga that is actually for fitness. And again, I know that a ton of people are going to disagree with me and say that, Dean, you're missing the point. Yoga is not about fitness. But for me, yoga is about fitness. And whatever you say, whatever you comment, whatever you post is not going to change that. I do yoga to work out. And the people who, and I would say the majority of the people that sign up for MFY Yoga and actually join the members area and purchase my DVDs and my books and my programs are doing yoga because they want to improve their fitness. There's also a lot of people who enjoy doing MFY Yoga to improve their technique and to get better at the asana practice or the physical aspects of yoga. But for the most part, I think that people are drawn to MFY Yoga because of the attention on the detail, the attention to fitness, and ultimately our focus on getting you results with yoga. At all, yes, but if your goal is to do yoga for fitness, then you're going to you want to make sure that you're doing something that is designed for your fitness. So you want to make sure that you're doing workouts that reinforce your fitness goals, right? So if you're doing, so if you have back pain, you need to make sure that you're doing you need to make sure that you're doing a yoga program or a yoga workout that's specifically addressed to your back pain, right? If you just go to a general yoga class, it might not be great and might not be good for you. In fact, like as I discussed before, it could actually be detrimental to your back. You could actually go to a yoga class and end up worse. And this is something that happens very often because yoga classes are not one size fits all. They're not giving you the right technique. They're not reinforcing proper technique, and they're not giving you modifications if you can't do them. So a lot of people end up going to yoga classes and they leave feeling frustrated, feeling worse off than they came in. And this even happens with some of my workouts. Some people will go in and they won't listen to the technique enough, or they'll attempt a workout that they're not ready for, and they'll end up injuring themselves, or they end up, sending me a message saying like, Dean, I did your workout, but I actually hurt my back even more. It's like, so you have to make sure that you're doing a program that's appropriate for you. Number two, number one, when it comes to doing yoga in a way that's useful is making sure that you're doing a workout that's focused on your fitness goals. Number two is making sure that you're getting technique focused instruction. So you're doing a workout and following an instructor who's actually telling you what you're supposed to be doing with your body, who's telling you. So if you're doing, let's say we're doing a Warrior 2, someone who's telling you, hey, you need to have your knee over your ankle on your front foot. You need to make sure that your arms are pressing in opposite directions so you feel a stretch through your chest. So they're telling you what you should be feeling in your body. They're telling you what you should be doing with each different part of your body. And they're allowing you to practice with confidence. Now, for some people, you're going to need to, this largely depends on the instructor. And it doesn't matter if the instructor is right there in person with you teaching in class, or if the instructor is like me, you're watching it over video from a pre-recorded thing. I've actually had people tell me that they've learned more from my videos than they have working one-on-one with a private yoga instructor. And this is because this largely comes down to the instructor style. So if the instructor focuses on technique, that's good. That's going to make sure that you're getting a good workout, that you're not reinforcing poor movement patterns or setting yourself up for injury. And if you're not, then you are at risk for those things. So you need to make sure that you have an instructor who is focusing on the technique, who's allowing you to practice with confidence to make sure that they're telling you the right things, so that when you're doing a pose, you know that you're doing that pose correctly, and ultimately you're going to get results and you're not going to get injured in the process. Number three, you need to make sure that you're getting those modifications. If you're a guy and you haven't done yoga before, you need to make sure that you're following an instructor who's telling you what you should be doing with your body if you can't do this. So for example, if I'm doing, let's say I'm doing a lunge, right? And I step back into a lunge and the person has really tight hip flexors, right? So the front of their hip here is really tight. And as a result, they're arching their back like this, right? They've got a lot of anterior pelvic tilt. Their lower back is arching. They're feeling pain in their lower back or pinching. And if you don't have someone that says, hey, and if you feel that, then you need to bring your feet closer together, or you need to let your back knee relax a little bit so you can fix that anterior pelvic tilt and you can have a neutral spine. And if you don't have someone who's telling you that, then again, you can set yourself up for injury or reinforcing poor movement patterns, and ultimately you're not getting the benefit of the pose. So number 3, you need to make sure that you're having modifications for those. If you're an inflexible person or if you haven't done yoga before, you need to make sure that you're getting those modifications. Number 4, you need to make sure that you're, and I touched on this before, but you need to make sure that you're doing workouts and programs with solutions to the problems that you have. So if you have, let's say you have knee problems and you heard that going to yoga will help knee problems. So you go to a random yoga class and to work on your knee problems. Now, again, you might work on your knee problems in this class. It might be beneficial for you, but if there's not focus on technique, or let's say you're not doing a lot of hip work, or let's say you're doing the poses incorrectly, then this class might actually not help your knees. It might actually make your knees worse. You need to make sure that you're doing you need to make sure that you're following a workout or following a program that's specifically made to improve knee health or improve, your back or whatever it is. So the point is that you can't just show up to a general yoga class and expect that it will help you with your problems. You have to be doing yoga in a way that focuses on the technique, that focuses on your specific issues, or you might actually be making the problem worse. And then number 5, and I think this is one of the biggest concerns that I get a lot, is you need to make sure that the yoga class is difficult enough. You need to make sure that it's actually reinforcing the technique, that it's telling you to engage your muscles, that it's holding the postures long enough to get to actually build more mobility and build endurance. So I think number 5 is making sure that you're getting a difficult enough workout to actually get results. Because I talk with tons of people who say, Dean, I've been doing yoga for 6 months and I haven't lost any weight, or I haven't, so and so. And the reason is because most yoga workouts, again, aren't designed to, the primary focus is not fitness. So if you're doing yoga and you're expecting to get jacked with yoga, but you're doing workouts that don't have the poses, that don't hold the poses long enough, or don't reinforce active muscle engagement, or aren't doing poses that help with everything, then you're not going to get the results. So you need to make sure that you're doing workouts that are difficult enough to create results. And so I think that's number 5, and that's kind of where I'm gonna stop things for now. But ultimately, when it comes in terms of this presentation, that's kind of where I'm going to end things in terms of the 5 traditional problems of yoga and how I've made Man-Flow Yoga to address those issues. And really what it comes down to is traditional yoga is not fitness focused. Fitness is just one part of it. And other types of yoga, actually, I'm talking about myself here obviously because this is my channel, so I am talking about Man-Flow Yoga, but Man-Flow Yoga I created specifically to help with fitness goals. I made Man-Flow Yoga because when I was an athlete starting out yoga, this is the type of yoga that I would have wanted to help improve my performance on the field, to help to prevent injury, to help to improve my performance, to improve my balance, to make sure that I was improving my mobility, and addressing those aspects of fitness that I wasn't getting from my traditional workouts, that I wasn't getting from running on the field or lifting weights or going on long runs. But to actually address those aspects of fitness like balance and mobility and flexibility, range of motion, that are very important to performance, but that you're not getting from most of your workouts. And that's not to say that, again, the point of this isn't to say that traditional yoga is bad. It's just to say that traditional yoga isn't the most efficient way to do yoga if your goal is to improve performance with yoga. So if your goal is to get faster or to improve your mobility, or to lose weight, or maybe to build muscle, and you want to use yoga to do that, then you need to make sure that you're being more efficient with it, and that's what I created Man-Flow Yoga for. That's not to say that traditional yoga isn't going to help you get there. It's just to say that Man-Flow Yoga is created specifically for that purpose, and other yoga is not. So that's what I'm trying to say here. I'm not saying that yoga is bad. I'm not saying that traditional yoga is bad. I'm just saying that traditional yoga didn't work for me and my fitness goals. And if your goals are fitness oriented, that I would recommend you take a look at MFY Yoga. So if you haven't already checked out any of my programs, I know that Wednesdays are typically for a workout, but if you haven't watched any of my workouts, I've got a ton on my blog at manfulyoga.com/blog. So you can go there and watch a bunch of workouts. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. I put out workouts every week, and you can get an idea of my approach to yoga, my fitness-centric, my technique-oriented approach to yoga. And you'll see what I mean in the first 10 minutes of doing a workout, especially if you've been to another yoga workout before and you weren't quite sure what you're doing, or you didn't feel like you were getting a great workout, or you didn't feel like you were engaging the right muscles, or being confident that you were doing the poses correctly. You'll notice what I'm talking about within the first few minutes of doing one of my workouts. And so again, check out my blog, manfulyoga.com/blog, if you want to check out some workouts. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And yeah, so that's what my goal here is. It's to create an alternative type of yoga for people who are more interested in yoga for fitness. That's the whole reason I started MFY Yoga in the first place, and that's why I do what I do now. That's why I just released a book called Yoga Fitness for Men. That's why I put out yoga DVDs with under the name Body by Yoga, with the tagline "Yoga for people that don't normally do yoga." No chanting, no spirituality, no gongs. So I mean, everything that I do is very explicitly yoga for fitness. So it should come to you as no surprise, especially in the products that I put out. But if you're looking to improve your fitness with yoga, and you want to address those aspects of fitness that you're not traditionally getting with your other workouts, you know, getting that slow, controlled movement, working on your breath, improving your flexibility, in your mobility, actually taking time to work on your balance, improving your isometric strength by holding a posture for 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes at a time, then take a look at what I'm doing with MFY Yoga. Again, manfulyoga.com/blog. Check out the workouts. If you're curious about the book, if you want to learn yoga and you'd like to have something physical, actually, Edward, can you grab a book for me? I just put this book out in early May. It's actually hit #1 in new releases in 3 different categories on Amazon. So it hit #1 in new releases in yoga, it hit #1 in new releases in stretching, and it also hit #1 in new releases in men's health. So this is the book. It's called Yoga Fitness for Men, published by DK Publishers. I'm very proud of this book, and this is an awesome resource for learning yoga. So if you want to have something in front of you that you can actually hold, that you can reference and use to get better at the postures and actually apply to routines, and then also read about concepts that you should keep in mind. So 7 keys to yoga success, for example. Myth busting, so things that you can use to, again, this is just an awesome tool to learn yoga and get better at yoga. So this is available on Amazon, it's available in most bookstores, it's available worldwide. I've had purchases in over 15 countries so far, and counting. So it's available in India, it's available in UK, Canada, Mexico, Germany, France. I've had a purchase from Romania. I've had purchases from, let's see here, Australia, New Zealand. Anyways, purchased all over the world. It's available all over the world. Get this book if you are interested in learning more about how yoga can help your fitness. And again, check out some of the workouts on manfulyoga.com. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Again, no workout today, but just want to talk about what I think are the 5 major problems of traditional yoga, and what I did to address those problems when I created MFY Yoga, and what I continue to do with MFY Yoga. So make sure you're following us, make sure you like the page, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed, and like me on Instagram too. Follow me on Instagram. I put out different content on each of these channels. I spend a lot of time creating content for these channels, and trying to create content that is useful for you guys, something that you can actually take and apply to your fitness routines, and hopefully something that can inspire you and motivate you to get started with your own yoga practice and fitness in general. So guys, I'm gonna also, we're gonna finish this off looking at some comments and see if there are any questions. So Edward's gonna read off those.
One question.
One question.
Can you make a video on exercises which specifically target upper body muscle building? Like the pump we get from lifting.
Yeah, so I have a upper body workout on YouTube. It's called the upper. I can't remember what the video is called, but I think it's called Yoga for Upper Body. We also have I have a yoga program called Yoga Body that has a upper body yoga workout specifically on that. So that's available as a DVD as Yoga Strong. It's also available in the Yoga Body program on manfulyoga.com /training. So I would check out those if you're looking for a yoga workout to improve upper body strength. But ultimately, if your goal is to really build muscle in your upper body, I would say make sure that you're doing resistance training in addition to yoga. So yoga is great for a lot of things. It's good for complementing muscle building, but I would recommend if your goal is to build significant muscle mass, then I would say you should be doing resistance training. You should be doing pull-ups. You should be doing weights, and you should be combining that with yoga. I would say don't just do yoga because you only want to do yoga. If your goal is to build upper body mass, you're going to want to be doing more stuff than just yoga. What else?
I guess one more. How has yoga helped your rehab?
Yeah, so yoga really helped my rehab, and I think I've talked about this. I don't know if I have a blog specifically on this, but I have talked about this before. For me, yoga was really helpful in my rehabilitation because it taught me about proper muscle engagement. It slowed down the movements enough that I was able to start focusing on and actually look at my muscles and say, oh wow, I noticed that my vastus medialis. I noticed that this particular muscle in my thigh isn't engaging, or I noticed that my glutes aren't engaging when I'm exercising. So by doing yoga and doing slow controlled movements, I was able to notice what was going on in my body and figure out what I wasn't properly engaging. And figure out what I should be doing, and then being able to apply that to my other workouts. So being able to apply that to my weighted squats, and being able to apply that to deadlifting, being able to apply that to hinge and squat movements, and even pull-ups. So yoga is really useful for me in my rehabilitation because it slowed things down and taught me about proper muscle engagement. And of course, the balance and the mobility aspects were very useful as well. Things that I just wasn't getting from my other workouts. And then finally, I think the restorative aspects. So understanding stretches and postures and exercises that I could do to help with speeding up my recovery and preventing my risk of injury from overtraining, that was also very helpful in terms of preventing injury and rehabilitation. Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me today. I hope you found this useful. Feel free to leave me a comment. I will get to it. So just leave a comment on the video, even if it's not live, and I'll respond to it as soon as I can. And if you want to read this blog and check out the 5 major problems of traditional yoga, just go to manfulyoga.com/blog, and you'll be able to see those 5 problems and kind of the solutions for them outlined in my blog, and also tons of workouts on that blog as well. Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this again, and I'm looking forward to talking with you next week. So Wednesday, 12 p.m. We'll be doing another Wednesday workout. And again, make sure that you're following me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for different content on each medium. And yeah, see you guys next week. Have an awesome.
Thank Glenn for buying the book.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Glenn. Glenn says he bought the book. Glenn, thank you for buying the book. And again, about the book. So if you buy the book, send me your email order confirmation, and I'll send you 6 routines from the book. So 3 hours of video content that I recorded specifically for the book to help complement the book. So if you buy the book, you're going to get a bunch of videos of routines from the book that you can watch and practice to reinforce what you're learning with the book. And send that to help@manfulyoga.com. All right, cool guys. Thanks for joining me today again. I'll see you guys on the next one.